Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name's Lisa. I'm a leadership coach and a human potential geek focused on getting more women into the C-suite to bring lasting business and social change. I coach women and others early in their leadership journey to prepare them to be the impactful leaders that the world sorely needs. So if that interests you, make sure to click subscribe and to turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss a single upload. I'm here today with my friend and kick-ass leader, Kendra Johnston. Thanks for being with me, Kendra.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Lisa. It's a pleasure to see you.
Good to see you too. I'd love for you to just share with our viewers your title and what you do in your role.
Sure. So I am president and CEO of the Association for Mineral Exploration in British Columbia. And we are the industry group that represents all of the British Columbia-based mineral explorers and developers that are either working in BC or working around the world. And I'm a geologist by training and have worked in the mineral exploration space for my entire career.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Can you just give us a bit of an overview of your career and kind of what has brought you to this point? You mentioned you're a geologist, but I suspect it started even before that.
It very much did. It started, I would say, probably grade 11. I had a physical geography teacher that took us rock hounding and really just enjoyed that trip so much, and decided sort of from that point on that I wanted a career that I could be outside and enjoy the wilderness and be able to explore. I've also always been a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle person, and so for me, the exploration side of the business is what intrigued me most. It was being able to take a whole bunch of scientific data and narrow down and try to find a new discovery. So with that in mind, I went and studied geology at university, and then got a fantastic job working with the BC Geological Survey, with a government entity, for a little while after university. And really, through some of the side gigs that I had through university, realized how much I enjoyed being in front of people and doing some of the marketing and communication pieces. So decided I wanted to try my hand at investor relations and got a job with a junior company on the IR side. And so got to travel the world talking to bankers and trying to understand the business of mineral exploration rather than the science of mineral exploration, and was really intrigued by that, and really decided at that point that I wanted to run my own junior exploration company. So knowing I needed a few more years of training, I switched companies and went back out into the field and really got my feet dirty in camp and project management and land management, community engagement, and then continued to work on the regulatory side and investor relations and understand the full gamut. Had a number of really great mentors in this industry. They've played such a key role in my career. And eventually moved from that project geologist up to being president of that junior company over about 12 years. Fabulous experience. And then left that role about 2.5 years ago, to take on this role, and being able to be the voice of the mineral exploration industry is just such a privilege and something that I am so incredibly passionate about. So I can't imagine a better role for me right now, and look forward to seeing where my career goes from here.
Very cool. Very cool. You know, it's always really amazed me that you've had so much breadth of experience in your career, but it sounds like you really took ownership of that and were very intentional about it. Now, I can say this because we're dear friends, and you know, you're petite and you look a lot younger than you are, and you have a little voice. So you've been able to really build out an amazing career in a very male-dominated industry. So I suspect that you've probably been underestimated once or twice because of those things. So I'm just wondering, you know, if we could hear a little bit more about that and what kind of experiences you've had there.
Sure. Yeah, it's an interesting question for sure, and I think it's something that, you know, has happened many times throughout my career, but I haven't necessarily always realized it was happening when it was happening. You know, I look back over my lifetime, and I was really lucky to have a childhood where I actually spent a lot of time as a competitive figure skater, and that really taught me to go out and perform on cue and be confident standing out on a stage all by yourself. And that confidence, I think, has transferred into my career and into my personality as who I am, and being comfortable speaking not only to people who are perhaps more superior, but to a general audience, and in front of folks on a stage, I think has brought me a long way. I also really understood the importance of volunteer work and the connections and networks early on in my career, and building those connections, gaining those mentors that I had, that really turned into sponsors and champions later in my career, is really, I think, what's brought me along and given me the confidence to be who I am, and to stand up and fight for what I know is right. And having the background and the research and the full understanding of this industry really allows you to have a platform to be able to stand up and say, no, that's not right. We have to go over here or go over there, or do whatever that next piece is. So, and yet I think there's a really important piece of remaining humble and knowing when you don't know what the right answer is, and finding those experts to ask. So it's a bit of a balance, but I think it's a combination of humility and confidence.
Yeah, great point. Humility and confidence is a powerful combination. And it sounds like those experiences have all really shaped you as a leader. So that kind of leads into the next question that I was thinking about. When we think about leadership behaviors and what a leader looks like, that's been traditionally built on a white male archetype. So I'm wondering how your leadership style or your approach to work differs from that archetype.
So I think for me, I really try to let everybody in the organization be leaders, give them their space, give them something to own and projects to own, and let them excel, and let them really truly be experts in what it is that they know and that they do. I'm not experts in what they do. I'm an expert in understanding the big picture of what we as an association need to do. They're the experts in communication and events and policy and regulatory matters. So really letting them shine. And I think I've been really lucky throughout my career to have some bosses and some mentors throughout that have given me that opportunity, and I've seen how it's helped me to progress and become comfortable in my own space, in my own shoes, and really I hope to be able to do that for them. And I really take the approach, I hope and I think, of being a mentor to my team, and guiding them in whatever it is that they're really passionate about, and just making it dovetails with where the association needs to go, and meeting our goals as well as their own professional goals.
Thanks, Kendra. It sounds like you've really taken a very collaborative and supportive kind of approach. What do you think that the impact is on your team and on your business of having that leadership style?
Oh, well, I hope it's added confidence to the whole team. That's a really great question for my team, not for me. But no, I really hope that it's added confidence to each and every individual in the team. I hope that they feel comfortable asking questions when they don't know the answer, to really, find their own footing and build into what they want their career to be. In my opinion, every step in your career should, in fact, be a step. It should be leading to something bigger and better in the next organization. And as much as you really value your staff and want them to stick around, our actual jobs as leaders are to help them to excel and move on and build into the next step of their career. So I hope that's what they're getting out of work.
I've had the privilege of actually working with your team, so I can tell you that I agree. That is what your team is getting from you. They're a fantastic team, really, really great. So I want to go back to what you've worked in and some of the journey that you've taken. And I'm not sure how to ask this because I'll ask it as delicately as I can, but have you not faced some sexist or biased jerks who just don't get it?
Well, I think that happens in every industry out there. And I think it's knowing how to handle it and knowing your own comfort level with being able to deal with those issues. And starting out in my career, it was not talked about like it's talked about today. Today we have a lot of conversations about diversity and inclusion and treating everybody fairly, equity and equality, and the difference between the two. We've gone through the whole Me Too movement since I started in this career, so it's something that's advanced substantially. And I think today I would feel much more comfortable speaking up and saying that's an issue, you can't say that, or that's not quite right, how about we say it this way instead. But I think today I probably spend more time thinking about how it affects my team more so than me. I'm comfortable standing up and speaking for myself, but I think early on in my career it was something that sort of rolled off my back a little bit more than it should have. But certainly there have been situations that have been uncomfortable, and again, having that confidence to stand up for yourself and speaking up and knowing the understanding the situation of when to speak up versus at the time whether or not to let it roll off my back. And I did probably let it roll off my back a few more times than I should have, and live and learn. But I can honestly say that the vast majority of my experience in this industry has been with really wonderful, supportive people. And in a lot of cases, when those situations have come up, I've been really lucky to have even male individuals around me there to support and speak up and say it wasn't right. So, having those bystanders around is really important. And for the most part, I can say that they have been there and been supportive.
Awesome. Yeah, that allyship part is so critical. The way I think about it is allies help us to feel safe, to put ourselves out there in a way that makes the situation better for everyone. And that's such an important role. So,
and a really thing to navigate.
Absolutely. So many of my clients struggle to get ahead in leadership or to continue to move up in their careers because they might face a lack of confidence or an inner critic that is really loud and keeps telling them that they are about to make a disastrous mistake. And often I see this as internalized bias. We all have biases, but we may also have biases that work against ourselves if we're in a marginalized group. And so I really see these inner barriers as internalized messages about gender and status. Now, you mentioned that performing competitive skating really helped you to be able to speak more off the cuff and perform in the moment when you need to and when the pressure's on. I can really see that helping to strengthen that muscle. So have you dealt with inner barriers though, despite that, having that strong confidence muscle?
Oh, absolutely. And I think in some respects, I was really lucky to have to deal with them really early. And looking back with the knowledge I have now, if I had been stronger mentally back in childhood when I was skating, I probably would have done a lot better in competition than I ever did, because I quite often freaked out and didn't land things when I should have. But interestingly, that's the way to learn is to fail. And it taught me a lot growing up. Those moments of failure really influenced my life and my personality and the direction and my ability to accomplish many, many things since that time. So, but I think that inner critic of, oh my goodness, I'm about to make a disastrous decision. I'm really of the frame of mind that there's no such thing as a disastrous decision. I mean, life should be a little bit of an adventure, and to be able to try something that you're really passionate about, and you can only make the best decision with the information that you know at that given moment in time. And if it's the right decision for right then, that's what you got to do and go forward with, and be confident in your own decision. You've put a lot of time and thought into what it is that you're about to do, and owning that decision, I think really, really helps quiet that inner critic. And being okay with the outcome. It might not be the right decision for tomorrow, but if it's the right decision for today, then that needs to be owned and taken forward. So I think we all have a bit of an inner critic, and sometimes it really speaks a truth that is nagging at you, and you need to sort of stop and listen to it. And other times it's trying to figure out how to quiet it down. And I think a lot of people struggle with the confidence piece and being able to either stand in front of an audience and give a presentation, or apply for a job, go to a job interview. It's those moments, I think, where the inner critic can get the better of you, and you just need to snuff it out and quiet it down, and know that it's okay. You can go and you can fail and you can try again. And again, we've all been through those situations. I have had disastrous job interviews and been able to bounce back from them. So
Right. Yeah. It's a powerful perspective on stretching yourself and taking risks. It's interesting because I always think about telling my inner critic to go sit in the corner. So it's like, okay, you go sit over there. I've got this today. Because I think struggling against your inner critic and trying to get rid of it, it just often doesn't work, and it can be exhausting, right? So, my technique really is to kind of go, yeah, whatever, you just go over there. I've got this.
Yeah, acknowledge it and tell it to move aside.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Kendra, if you could go back to any point in your life and give yourself one piece of advice or feedback as a mentor to your younger self, what advice or guidance would you give?
I go back to, I have been so lucky to have so many great mentors that I think I received a lot of that advice coming up through my career. But probably the one piece that stuck with me really is humility in this industry. It's so cyclical that, your goal is really to stay employed. Take a high salary in the bad times and a low salary in the good times, and it all evens out. And somebody gave me that advice early on in my career, and it's paid dividends for sure. But I think, the variety, making sure that you get the variety that you really want to become the expert in the things that you want to become an expert in. And not to stay too long anywhere. Get in, learn what you need to learn, and move on to the next challenge. And if you're really not challenged somewhere, it's time to move on and learn something different. And at the end of the day, as much as we all value a fantastic job and the people that we work with, it's got to be a challenge, and it's about your own individual career projection rather than always about the company and what's best for the company. It's got to be a healthy balance of the two.
Yeah, that's actually really fantastic advice. I've faced times in my career where I've just waited for somebody to notice, and I've waited to be told that I was ready for the next level. And I know I'm not alone in that. I've heard that from a number of women. And to your point, you need to be in charge of that. You need to be noticing if you aren't being challenged in the way that's going to lead to your growth.
Absolutely. And you need to ask for that growth sometimes, whether that's professional development or whether that's a new job title or a salary increase, whatever it might be. It is up to you to ask for those things. And, it's nice when you're noticed without being asked, but sometimes you got to take control of that and push for it yourself.
It's so true. So Kendra, we're almost to the end of our conversation today. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
I think, anybody who's listening to this podcast is on a phenomenal career path, wherever it is that you're going and whatever it is that you are currently working on. So quiet that inner critic and be confident in your own abilities and be humble in your career, and you will go leaps and bounds and go wherever your dreams are taking you. So
wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, Kendra. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's always so nice to see you.
Great to see you too, Kendra. And you, thank you for your time today. And I hope that you found this helpful. Make sure you like this video if you did, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future uploads. And please leave a comment below letting me know a time when you have taken a risk to grow in your career progression. I'm sure that there's a time. If you can, and if you need anything, please reach out and let me know. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.